a sunny day, surrounded by the gods of cloud and infrastructure, sits Sherman Crancer, a former Microsoft executive who dedicated his life to helping partners achieve greatness. Working 90 hours a week, wired directly into the mothership, learning, watching, coaching, believing in something greater than possible, he created the Microsoft Partner Super System. This system uses a systematic approach to help partners transform into the partner of tomorrow. His partners grew at an average rate of 42% year over year, and in FY19 produced over $900 million in revenue. The Crancer Group manages a select number of Microsoft partners each year. Contact the Crancer Group and see if you qualify for consideration to be managed and transformed into the partner of tomorrow.
Many partners we work with are very frustrated with working within the Microsoft ecosystem. They're frustrated with how do they sign up for the right programs or get the right incentives. We specialize in helping those Microsoft partners get into the right programs, ensure they're in the right incentives, and put them on a path to grow at least 40% year over year. Next, we actually install a marketing machine program that helps our partners put together a very strategic go-to-market strategy that will put in place a way that they can drive 10 net new opportunities every single month. We look forward to talking with you, so please give us a call. All right, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you again. This is Sherman Crancer. I'm the president of the Crancer Group. And today we've got a great program where we're going to focus on partner-to-partner execution and a program that's being rolled out to partners to help them drive better collaboration and revenue. So as I mentioned, I'm the president of the Crancer Group. We're just thrilled to have some amazing speakers today. So we have a couple of housekeeping items I just want to make sure. If you are joining us via the Teams platform and you do not see the chat window, okay, please exit out of your tenant, go back and join the Crancer Group Partners tenant, and then when you do that, you will then be able to actually see the actual chat window. And this is an immersive experience. We're doing this because we like to talk to each and every one. We want you to be able to ask questions of the speakers and kind of collaborate back and forth. This is also a great networking opportunity. So please network with your other peers. Put in there your name, your phone number, your contact information, and what you specialize in. Happy to work for you. Now, those who are partners that are attending this via LinkedIn Live, another great way. If you want to get in touch with us and be part of our Crancer Group partner collaboration site, please send us an email. And then when you do that, we'll invite you to the actual Microsoft Teams site, and then we'll also send you the calendar invite. So this program is once a month that we do this, and we have some great speakers today. So that's number one. Now number two, at the conclusion of this hour, we're going to extend it for an extra 20 minutes for networking. So if you'd like to stay on that, please make sure you stay on for 20 minutes and you are ready to go ahead and provide your name, phone number, email address. We want to be found here, right? And for those in the peanut gallery who we saw just recently when we first sent out our initial invitation, to those who seem to want to be hidden, so that want to, who are very frustrated with ever being on an email with somebody else, well, we say we bid them adieu, okay? Because the people who want to be found, the one that we want to work with others, those are the people that end up, doing the best. And working hard together. So we're happy to work with you, but we want you to be happy to work with us too. All right, so let me go ahead and introduce. We've got two great and amazing speakers here that are coming up. I'm so excited about this. We've got Helane Cohen from Microsoft, and we also have Paul Soski who's heads up AIM International. So, Helane, would you mind just quickly just introducing yourself and your responsibility at Microsoft? Then we'll go over to Paul. Helane?
Yeah, awesome. And thank you, Sherman, for having us today. My name is Helane Cohen, and I am the Partner to Partner, also referred to as P2P, U.S. Strategy and Program Lead for the U.S. One Commercial Partner Team.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much. And we're going to really kind of get into this program. We're talking about the Partner to Partner program. It's not new, it's not old, but it's great. So we'll talk about it. All right, Paul, let's go to you, bud.
Hey, Sherman, and thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Paul Soski, heading up AIM International. We're a management consulting group, and we do 4 things. Number 1 is we help partners to achieve scale, whether it's domestic or international, through partner channels. We help partners to build go-to-market plans so that they can align their organizations behind specific objectives. We also help partners to package their own IP. So if they've been doing a lot of services in past years, the chances are that partners have already IP. We help to package that. And finally, we help enable partners to go global. The ultimate way to scale is to go international, and we focus in that area.
Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the agenda here real quick. So we have 4 different sections, right? We've got the Did You Know, we've got the Discovery, we've got Business Development, and we have Sales and Marketing, okay? So the first thing, let's go into the Did You Know, and then I'm bringing in my great colleague, Andres Seguera. We call him the Wiz, as well as Boomer. Because man, does he talk loud when he's doing CIE. So all right, let's go with it. All right, here we go. So I think in this section, there's 2 things that I wanted to talk about, really. And Andres, Andres is a great, he's been with us from the very beginning. Look at him, he's gotten better. I mean, every month he's gotten better and better. But the reason why I want to bring Andres into the Did You Know is I want to talk about 2 things that is working for us right now within our partner community that is driving amazing results. Amazing results. What I mean is, we conduct customer immersion experience events, right, for our partners, right? And those are hands-on labs. And that's really how we're trying to figure out how to, drive net new revenue, right? Last year, we had mixed success. Some partners are doing incredible with it. Some partners were not doing, incredible with it, right? About 70% right, 30% no. And so we kind of tweaked it a little bit. We came up with what we feel is really important. And they're called hooks. They're called having offer inside of a presentation. So as you know, the customer immersion experiences are amazing because it's a one-to-many type of thing. It's more intimate. It's 12 people, right? They come in, we do all this training. But Andre, let's talk about the very first one. Okay, so we do an Azure VM and Compute Lab. So the virtual machine and compute lab is right? And inside of that, we basically have 12 people who come in, right? And then we're going to have Andres talk about this offer that we're using, that we're getting about 50% of the attendees asking for a subsequent appointment. Think about that. 50% of these people are doing that. Andres, why don't you go ahead and talk about that first off?
Absolutely appreciate the introduction, Sherman. Very happy to be here. You went in a little bit about the customer immersion experience. It's really one of the hallmarks of what we're doing for partners today. I think really just understanding how that helps develop relationships with these individuals, helps establish your credibility in the marketplace is good, just to kind of lead with, just to start with. However, as you were mentioning, we wanted to pivot. We do this enough where we can really get some telemetry on what's working and what's not. And so what we learned is that we're going to want to really have a process as to what the next step looks like for each of these different participants as they come through this lab. And so the idea is we're giving them all this great information. We're establishing this relationship. How can we move this relationship to the next level? And so what we realized is, okay, we're using Teams Meeting as our platform. Polling really became one of the new features that we started rolling out in every single one of these events. And what we're doing here with some of the hooks, specifically for Azure, is we're leading with an offer that's going to be interesting, useful for the attendee in terms of their migration into the platform. And so what we're doing right now is we're using the Azure POC offer that's specifically geared for any organizations who are looking to start inside of the Azure platform. It gives them credits that they can actually use. It's based on a 10-to-1 ROI based on specifically how much their projected spend is for the year. And so we basically let them know, hey, if you're looking at a potential move into the Azure platform, why not see if we can actually find a way to fund this POC for you? Let's fund those first 60 days and give you an opportunity to actually go ahead and try these solutions. The thing that we know is that if they try Azure, they're not going to want to go back, right? So we just go ahead and we get them started. We start that first process into the cloud. We know that we're going to have a great relationship down the line. So it's all about, again, establishing the next step, understanding where we can move the conversation, and taking advantage of what's currently available for partners in the marketplace.
Okay, well, let's break it down. Now, what is the offer? What is the offer that we are seeing? I mean, great attention to. What is the offer that we're posting?
Gotcha. So we're offering them an Azure POC assessment. We're giving them an opportunity to spend typically up to $3,000 in credits for Azure. So if they go ahead and they move into the platform, any resources that they start to use and they start to actually consume inside of the platform, they're going to be able to get that all credited for free. They're not going to have to pay for that. They're going to get to try it and buy it and really understand whether or not the Azure platform is going to be a nice addition to what they're currently doing for their IT. That makes sense?
Okay, awesome. That's the first did you know. I think the second one is the Teams offer. Okay, so inside of Teams, or excuse me, in security, which one are we finding? What are we placing out there in the poll that we're finding 30%, 40% are asking for? What is that specific product that we are highlighting?
Yeah, so absolutely. Great question. Again, this goes into what does a next step look like? Inside of these security CIEs, what we're doing is we're really breaking down how Microsoft 365 can help you when it comes to your security practice. One of the hallmarks of M365 is what's called Secure Score. I'm sure we've probably all seen that before. It's a great way to really understand when it comes to your Microsoft security, where do you currently stand? What specific actions can you take to make yourself more secure for your Microsoft services? And so right now, what we're offering everybody who's coming to these labs is a free Microsoft Secure Score assessment. The ability to take some time with us, the experts here when it comes to Microsoft security, let you know and understand what different steps you can take to uplift your security program, uplift the way that you're protecting your data, and ultimately making you more of a secure platform for the different customers that you're working with. That's what we're doing. We're seeing great success. I encourage everybody to go ahead and try this out in the events that they're going with forward. We're happy to take some time to walk you through how we're doing this today as well.
Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna let's go into our first thing. It's really our first thing, and Andres is gonna be leading it with Helane and kind of getting to know our speaker.
Absolutely, looking forward to it. All right, so we're going to be talking a little bit about discovery here. I'll start with Helane, if that's all right, Paul. This is really just about understanding how we got started in the IT business, right? So maybe, Helane, if you wouldn't mind giving us a little bit of background, where you got started, what your story is, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, awesome. Let's see, without trying to date myself, my story is quite long. But in essence, I was one of the first women in technology. I was a systems engineer, woohoo. And I moved from the realm of being technical more to business development and marketing. And I was a Microsoft Strategic Alliance Manager for many years for some large ISV companies. I then actually was an entrepreneur for 8 years, which was a big learning experience. I have tremendous respect for our Microsoft partners and small business owners. When I decided to go back to corporate America, I was looking for a company that, for me, it was very important that the company had a culture that I agreed with, as well as how they looked at corporate responsibility in terms of giving back. And Microsoft had always been a company I'd worked with through my alliances. So I set my sights on working for Microsoft, and I was one of the first business development folks for the Microsoft retail stores. And that was about 8 years ago. Helped them build their business program, and then moved to corporate roles where I've both been, in our old SMB team, which is now the current team I'm in, got rolled into One Commercial Partner, as well as working a little bit in our marketing organization. So been with Microsoft 8 years. It's been a journey to get here. And again, yeah, thanks. I'm, super excited about being here today.
That's a great story. Really appreciate you being willing to share. I think that gives everybody a good understanding of, why we absolutely should be paying attention to what you got to say. So thank you so much, Helane. I'm going to go ahead and pass that question over to Paul, if that's all right with you. Paul, if you wouldn't mind coming in here and letting us know how you got started here inside of this ecosystem.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I had quite a bit of journey, and the fun fact is I lived in 6 countries and visited 26 in my professional career. Grew up in Australia, worked for HP and for Intel and for Compaq in Australia, and then was taken by Compaq to Singapore, lived in Singapore for about 3 years. And for all my crimes in Singapore, Compaq took me to the US, where I lived in Massachusetts for a few years. And then Microsoft offered me a role here in Seattle. And I was the ISV strategy director initially, and then ISV Dynamics ISV sales secondly. And during my time at Microsoft, I built a program to assist ISVs to go global, because ISVs want to take advantage of the global nature of Microsoft and the ecosystem. And so my role was to put this program in place. And then I left Microsoft and decided to start up AIM International, which does exactly that, but at a very practical, hands-on level. So myself and a group of ex-Microsoft colleagues and other colleagues now, we help ISVs or software-driven companies to enter new markets and win new customers all over the world. And we support the Microsoft Geo Expansion program, which is designed to do that now.
Well, that is amazing. I am honored to share the stage with both of you. I really appreciate you both of you being willing to share, and thank you for your story, Paul. It's awesome to hear. Let's go ahead and head into our next question here, if we can make the transition. Okay, what we want to understand is the program you're working on today and why it's so important to the Microsoft ecosystem. Helane, you touched briefly on that, but if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit more about that as well and kind of giving us some more color there, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, fantastic. So let me just start by saying that, I have been in this new role as the P2P strategy lead about 4 months. Before that, I was the GTM strategy lead for US One Commercial Partner as well. So, many of you listening may be familiar with me. You may have heard me over the last couple of years talking about, Microsoft's go-to-market strategy. So I was really excited when I was offered the opportunity to then, help develop our partner-to-partner program. And so I took it over about 4 months ago. And when I took it over, we were just about to launch something that we called the ISV Channel Transformation Collection. So we were looking at, from an ISV perspective initially, and I'll tell you how the program will be evolving as we go further down into these questions. But we were really looking at, how do we help our partners, work within the Microsoft ecosystem, but yet also work with the partner channel. This is something that the organization IMCP and Paul and his team have been doing very naturally for many years. Bringing partners together to help leverage each other's strengths and solutions. So where we're at currently with P2P is we've launched a self-guided transformation collection, which will help our partners kind of understand where they're at in the maturity model in terms of being ready to do P2P. And then it will help also guide them through what are the steps that they need to take to ensure a successful partner-to-partner motion. And my job is looking at this strategy from an all-up perspective. I can tell you the last 4 months have been very, very deep in looking at this from a holistic perspective. We have many different partner types and many different things matter to different partners. I'm taking a step back. I'm looking at that. I'm trying to figure out how do we support all of our partner types, but at the same time, how do we really teach partners to fish versus providing the fish? So that partners are self-enabled in doing their partner-to-partner motions.
I love it. Yeah, I think, every partner comes in different shapes and sizes. They've got different strengths and capabilities, and, understanding who you can partner with to really, push your business forward, absolutely a game changer. So thank you for sharing, Helane. Paul, I'd love to pass this question over to you, but maybe if you could talk a little bit about the IMCP as well, as you're answering this question. I think that would be helpful just to give everybody some context here as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks. And I should have mentioned that in my introduction as well, that I am part of the IMCP, which is the International Association of Microsoft Channel Partners. This is the largest independent Microsoft partner organization in the world. It has over 80 chapters across North America, Asia Pacific, Asia, and Europe. And we as a community get together and work together where P2P is a core focus for the community, but also sharing best practices and knowledge about how to run your Microsoft business. I have 2 roles at the IMCP. I'm the Seattle chapter president, and also I lead the P2P initiative for the IMCP worldwide. In terms of the program that we offer, so Microsoft has a program called the Geo Expansion Program, for which we provide partner enablement services. And while Geo Expansion is really designed to help scale for software-driven companies, the skills and the enablement that is provided there is equally applicable to domestic markets. So if you're not thinking about going global, this can still apply if you're thinking moving across the United States and North America. And the challenges that which we address are to achieve scale. Partners need to know when, where, and how to expand into new markets, be they geographies or be they industries or customer segments. And often partners try and do that too early, and therefore they have missteps and they have unnecessary costs and delays and missed opportunities. So our role there is to help work through the when, where, and how, and build a go-to-market plan that helps partners to decide, should it be direct to end user customers, should it be through other partners, should they go to market through distribution or online, and then how would they actually affect that kind of engagement and the actual scaling out. So the building of the plan is one of the enablement services. The other enablement service is to build a partner program that enables partners to recruit new partners and go to market together, and then we assist in identifying potential partners, and then with the help of the Crancer Group in the US to manage those partners to help scale out the sale of ISV-driven, of software-driven companies.
I love it, Paul. Appreciate you sharing. You are a man of many talents. I know you offer quite a bit of different things to these partners, and I'm happy to have you here, so appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get this next question here, Melody, if you wouldn't mind. All right, so Helane, last question I get to ask you here today. In your opinion, what does the term partner to partner mean to you?
That's a great question. So really, in its most simplistic form, partner to partner to me is how do partners come together to co-sell together. It extends a little further in that, when you have a joint partnership, right, you need to be looking at the full range of going to market together. So how are you, creating your joint value proposition together? How are you figuring out, how are you going to enable each other's channels? Or if it's, there's one channel you're focusing on, how are you going to enable that channel both technically? How are you going to incent that channel? How are you going to go to market with that channel from a marketing perspective? And then also, how are you going to operationalize what that partnership looks like? So simplest terms is it's how are you co-selling together within the Microsoft ecosystem as a partner-to-partner relationship.
Appreciate it, Helane. And maybe, Paul, I'll switch it up just briefly because I think that was a beautiful explanation. Maybe the value. How do you see the value here of P2P relationships, when partners are able to work with one another?
Yeah, so we should point out that there are multiple different partner types that work together, and ISV and value-added reseller, SI, MSP, CSP. Those are different combinations. Disties and two partner types can work together. So in terms of, largely it is about growing the sales and being able to address new opportunities together in a better way. So if you look at opportunities, they could be in industry. So one partner may not have the skills in an industry that a client is looking for a solution. So they would partner with another and they would co-sell in that environment. Another situation is an ISV that wants to sell across different geographies, and they don't have the physical presence in that geography or the market knowledge or the culture. And so that is actually a resell relationship that they may have, and that enables the ISV to scale out. But gaining access to new customers through a geographical presence, through knowing an industry, through knowing technology that one partner may not have and needs another, because customers are looking at more complex solutions, more sophisticated solutions with new technologies like IoT, and one partner may have a customer that needs an IoT solution, but they don't have the skills, so bring another partner. And the result of that is that the solutions are better, more complete, that partners who partner together can compete against much larger organizations more effectively, and customers like consortium or joint partner solutions, because effectively there's this concept of one throat to choke, where they can work with a single partner that represents the consortium, as opposed to having to deal with many partners individually and avoid finger pointing.
I love it. I think you're pointing out some great things there, Paul, and thank you, Helane, for sharing with us here as well today. It's about extending your value in the ecosystem, extending what you can do, and I'm really happy to see all of us here, being a part of that growth. I'll go ahead and pass it back over to Sherman. I've had my fun here. Take it away, my friend.
Yeah, well, I think those have all been great. Those have all been really fantastic. So what we're going to do now is get into business development. That's what we're going to do next. So just hold on 1 second. Let's go ahead and get it. So, when it comes to business development, right? When it comes to business development, we have a few questions here that we're going to go ahead and talk about. We have 4 different ones. We're going to talk to them individually about it, but I think it's going to help us really kind of get to know and understand some of these concepts a little better. I also believe that, partnering is it can be awesome, it can be terrible, it can be a reputation builder, it can be a reputation killer, right? And we all know this. We have a lot of people who think that building a business means joining a networking group, and the first thing that they do is put their hand out. Give me something, give me, right? But they don't understand. It's not about giving, or not about taking. It's about giving first, then you receive. So my first question here, really, I got my eyes are, make sure I see this. So first, I'll go to Helane. What are the most successful partner marketer scenarios that you've seen? And what are some that possibly left you kind of puzzled, with the type of partner?
Yeah, Sherman. And I think, I think you said it best, and I actually just added this slide to a deck that I have. When it comes to partner, the very first thing that I have seen cause a successful engagement is mindset. Is the mindset of the partners coming together about how we help each other, how we help our mutual customer, how we're meeting business outcomes? Or is it, as you mentioned, is it about, what's in it for me, right? So I think, the successful partnerships that I've seen have been the ones where the partners come to the table with, hey, I have, this opportunity, and this is how I see this will benefit you, as well as, this is how I'll be rewarded as well. Again, keeping the customer, front of mind for, solving that need or that business outcome that they're looking for. So I would say, like, the very first thing that, I've really shifted my mind to is it mindset? How are you thinking about doing partner to partner?
That's that's really awesome. I really appreciate it. Do you have any other thoughts?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, in terms of things that have left me a little bit puzzled, there was a two-part question there. I think lack of preparation leaves me puzzled. So as a partner business, it's really important, right, that you're prepared for your customers, and you, when you go into a customer meeting or a business meeting, you prepare, your value statement, you get your deck together, how you're going to support that customer, the financial end of, what you're trying to sell and, what you expect to get back in return. But what I have seen is, when two partners maybe come together, kind of that goes out the window, and it's like, okay, how do we partner together? And they forget about the basic principles of it's still a business motion, and we still need to figure this out together. How are we truly aligning? And that includes creating, that P2P strategy, that P2P value proposition, as a joint team, versus just these, just the one individual solution that you're looking at. So I would say, in terms of, where I've seen failure or I see a rough start, is when partners don't actually, think about their strategy together versus their independent strategy.
I love that. I love it. Those are great insights. And I got a couple of stories too. But Paul, let's just put that same question to you. I mean, you're bringing people in from the internet, from international, right? And you're helping them understand how to build. And this is why I think your value is so great. You help them put together, the proper type of content to actually build a partner-to-partner type of go-to-market motion. So I think your opinion is so important to understand. So Paul, would you mind answering that question?
Sure, and I completely agree with everything Helane has said. I would just add that it's actually not that complicated. In terms of a solution that's delivered to a customer, you need someone to build the solution, someone to sell the solution, someone to deploy it, and someone to maintain it. And all of the partner-to-partner activity has to be across those four simple stages. And different partner combinations provide different elements of that, but they all have to add up to that. But I would agree that having to define a market opportunity in terms of business challenges by customers and why they would spend money to buy a joint solution is a critical element of that. And the value proposition has to be compelling to the customer and to each other, each of the partners. It's also really important that each partner actually needs the assets of the other. And if they ask themselves, would I get this customer, secure this customer, if I didn't have the other partner? And the answer is no. That means they're partnering well. And like Helane said, partnering mindset is really important, but also trust, and trust in terms of engaging over a period of time, agreeing to work with each other, committing to each other, and not breaking that commitment, and not always taking, also giving, and not always winning. Maybe sometimes winning less is okay, but it needs to be a longer term mindset. Otherwise, it becomes very ad hoc and transactional. So what I find that what puzzles me is when partners get together and they don't set each other's expectations correctly. They don't define the roles and responsibilities of each other, and therefore they're like this when it actually goes when they go to market and engage with customers. The other consideration is culture, and it doesn't have to be international culture. It can be the culture of the company. And if you're looking to bring on board hard-charging hunters, and the partner has a farmer kind of mentality, it's not going to work. It's going to fail. And so culture is very important. And then finally the commitment, and with commitment comes planning to invest and do things together that are very specific for mutual benefit.
Wow, those are great. There's two things I want to touch on. So, what I like about our relationship, Paul, is that you and I, we have a standing call, like every Friday.
We do.
And that call is 30 minutes. And what's great about that call is we both come to that call with understanding we're here to do business. We're here to talk about business. I think during the week, I'm talking about that I can refer Paul. Paul's doing the same thing back from Paul. And we go to it, it's not just a friendly call. Sometimes in partner-to-partner relationships, it's always about being friends. You don't really solidify or identify a key thing. Like we're friends. We can talk, we have fun, but we know that that's something that we do. Right, it's part of a partner-to-partner relationship. We know that it's in place. Right. Second thing, we drink our own dog food here. And let me just explain something to you. Anything that we ever say, we do for ourselves, for my own company. Okay, any type of advice, packaging. I mean, literally, we drink our own dog food. Why do I put this thing on? Why do I put this program on? Okay. Well, do I sell inside of this program? No, we're not selling the Crancer Group. What we're doing? We're giving first. We're giving. We're bringing people in to learn from people. We're giving. We're building our trust and our profile. And I'm not ashamed to say that. And that's something that you should be considering when you're thinking about it. It's always about giving first. If you ask anybody in the industry, I'm always about what can I do to help you first. I am never, ever saying, give me something. Ever. Why? I get 10 times the return if I give first. If you give, if you provide something, people trust you, people thank you, people want to work with you. And number two, you got to smile. I think number three, you can't do a reply all on an email that makes you look really, really terrible. Wink, wink, you know who you are. Anyways, let's go on to our next question. What would you suggest is the first step when you're creating a plan to partner with another Microsoft partner or partners? Helane, do you mind if I go with you first?
Yeah, glad to. I'll give you a little more than our first step, but I will also refer you to the transformation journey that the assets that I was telling you about, and we'll put a link in the window for everybody. When we're talking about P2P, and you kind of heard me allude to some of the different areas that you need to be thinking about, right? So we actually have 6 specific attributes for doing partner to partner and for transforming your channel. The first one, which answers your question, is really strategy. I'll come back to that in a minute. Second is value proposition. Third is how we build with. Fourth is market with. Fifth is sell with. And then sixth is operationalizing. So when we talk about strategy, and again, I kind of mentioned this already, are you looking at cloud first? Our customers are, really demanding more innovation. They're looking for more expertise, and they're looking for, a cloud first solution. Are you looking at the business outcomes that your customers, your joint customers, remember when I'm talking P2P, I'm talking about partners coming together to provide a solution. So are you looking from your strategy at what the joint business outcomes are? and how your customers are going to adopt your solution. So I would say, again, the first step is, defining what your joint goals and what your joint channel strategy are going to be for partner to partner.
So I'm having some audio difficulties. We're going to bring in Andres in here. He's going to help us out, moving forward here. Andres, why don't you go ahead and lead the rest of these questions while I attend to my microphone issue.
Absolutely. Happy to do so. So, Paul, I'm going to send over the question to you as well. When you're working with the partners that you're collaborating with and you're suggesting, how do we actually get this P2P initiative off the ground? What do you think is a good first step there for the partners in terms of how to go forward with that?
I think you begin every initiative with the customer. What is the customer's pain point? And are you able to address that pain point in a differentiated way? Because you don't want to go into a market that is saturated with like solutions where your differentiation becomes the lowest price. So there has to be value-added differentiation for that. And I really believe it's important to do some market opportunity sizing. And the reason you do the sizing is because in order to address any opportunity, you have to make a financial investment in people and time and various resources. And you have to understand how many customers are likely to buy your differentiated solution in a given time, and will that justify that investment? And I think that's the core of why the partnership exists. The second part is, what components do each of the partners bring to make that differentiated solution possible? And how does each partner make it better, and what back to what their roles and responsibilities? And then they have to have a plan, really a plan to go after the customer segment. What's this communication strategy, sales strategy, and then a whole bunch of tactics. And they have to agree to really own that plan, commit resources, and deliver on the commitments that they have to each other.
Great. That was all phenomenal to hear. Appreciate it, Paul. I think we're going to transition a little bit here, specifically about what each of you individually are doing for P2P initiatives. So, we talked about your program just in general and how you're helping partners, but specifically on the P2P initiative, Helane, if you wouldn't mind giving us a little bit of background as to what the value partners are seeing right now for that initiative specifically.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. So as I mentioned, we launched something called the ISV Channel Transformation Journey. I'm in the process, actually, flashing news, of changing that to P2P Transformation Journey, because I would say that, a lot of the content was built around the lens of an ISV, but we have run it by a number of our service type partners who have said, 80 to 90% of the content that we're providing is, general partner facing. So what we've done with that collection, in true Microsoft style, I'll put this out there first, we have given you a bunch of assets. What I will tell you is that the assets are phenomenal. For each one of those different sections that I talked about and different steps in a P2P journey, like strategy and going to market and operations, etc., we've created different set of assets. I suggest you start in the introduction area. You'll generally see a PowerPoint, you'll see a video. We have a tremendous guide that will really help you assess your level of maturity. And it's not just your level of maturity for P2P in general, it's really in those 6 different focus areas that I talked about, all the way from strategy to operationalizing. Because what we have seen, and Paul kind of alluded to this too, right, is that as you're making your plan and coming together, right, all of these pieces have to be thought through, and all of these pieces need to be agreed upon and that trust does need to get built within the partners. So within the collection, all of these different assets will help you, assess where you're at. It will give you recommendations as to, let's say that you have a super mature strategy, but you might be more foundational in how you're going to operationalize and track and do reporting. The guide will actually give you suggestions and templates and things to actually help you take those next steps. What I will say is that there's a lot of content, and I did come into this role with most of this content having been very close to being completely developed. I am reviewing the content. You will see very soon some more simplistic roadmaps coming to help you actually go through that content. So just know that, I am aware that as Microsoft, we tend to give you a lot, and sometimes the guidance, may not be super clear or may not be simple. So I am really aiming to get more simplistic. I'm working really closely with Paul and with the IMCP to understand how they're operationalizing. That's another example, I guess, of P2P. Like, we really want to understand how IMCP is doing it, how we can support each other. We're partners as well. And then the other thing that I would say is that for each of the different collections, you will also see some type of GTM offering. So in the introduction collection, we too, as Sherman mentioned first, for the Crancer group, they have an assessment. We have a P2P assessment where you can actually take the assessment and then get a 30-minute consultation with my agency, with my P2P marketing agency, to help you assess, where you're at in that maturity model and what your next steps might need to be. So I would highly suggest, checking that out. Start in the introduction area, and then kind of work your way through. And stay tuned for some more roadmap-oriented documentation that'll help you get through that material a little bit easier.
And just a heads up, Helane, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I forwarded the link that you sent us here into the Teams meeting. So
Awesome.
If you wanted to go ahead and check out all of those resources, you should have access to that link. So go ahead and check it all out. Encourage you to do so.
All right, I think I'm back now. I think the microphone is hopefully working a little bit better. Okay, sorry about that. So that's all been great. I think what we need to do now is actually go into our next section, frankly, and that's going to be in sales and marketing. It's really important that we have for that. So if you can go ahead and click on the next section, we'll go ahead and get there. All right, so now our next section is sales and marketing, and I think a couple things in here. I kind of want to start with actually question number 2 here. IMCP, frankly, I owe my whole career to the International Association of Microsoft Channel Partners. I would not be here today. I would not have been at Microsoft. I would not have met Helane. I would have not learned about the Microsoft Community Connection Program. I would have not been here today. I'd still be selling telecom, okay? And I wouldn't. Let me just tell you, my life would not be where it is today. It would be a lot different. So let's just talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit, from your perspective, Paul, how is being a member of IMCP of value to partners?
Thanks for that. So I've been with the IMCP for 8 years here in Seattle, and have only taken on the broader role in the last 2 years. And what struck me throughout the first period of time was just how willing partners were to come together and share ideas and build relationships. And we had kind of chapter meetings on a monthly basis, which really all chapters do, around information sharing. And this in Seattle, we have guests like Helane, but also other Microsoft people on a regular basis, where we learn about programs and initiatives and benefits. And these are opportunities to learn that many members don't normally get. We've had some very senior executives present to us. Gabriela did a preview of Inspire with us for us to give her feedback. And so we're kind of very privileged here in Seattle, but across all of IMCP chapters, there is that knowledge sharing, business sharing, opportunity sharing, and wanting to make connections. And then I became part of the Americas organization and now international. And it really drove home to me what a community of givers this is. We have all these really skilled people. Most of them are CEOs of their companies. Others work for very large companies, and they just give their time to the community, and they give their time to build the P2P connections, but also to share knowledge, to create events that bring members together. We recently had the quarterly partner briefing where we had Dan Truex and Gabriella present, letting members know what the directions are, what the opportunities are. So to me, IMCP is kind of that both mentorship and community that helps to drive more insights and more knowledge and certainly more business on an ongoing basis.
Appreciate that. That was a great explanation. And Helane, what are your thoughts on that? You know, how's being a member of IMCP a valued partner?
Yeah, I mean, you said it right, Sherman. We wouldn't have met. I met you when I was working at the Microsoft stores. I feel as though like when we talk about partner to partner, right, that is a big part of Microsoft's ecosystem. IMCP is the association for those partners. I've been very involved out here in Southern California with the Orange County chapter. I've done some work with Paul. I've done some work with the Americas. Just from my own personal involvement, I want to hear. As a Microsoft person, I want to hear what my partners are saying. We tend to be, up here kind of doing our program development and, developing all these things. And, it's really important for me to hear what our partners are saying, what they're struggling with, where their successes are. And, are we doing what we need to do to support our partners properly? And IAMCP for me really has been my primary go-to channel to, get that feedback, get that engagement. And also I'll just add to the comment that Paul made about trust. There is really, truly a level of trust that I've never seen before. Specifically in the Orange County chapter where I've been a part of that chapter, I have never, ever seen, more trust in a, what could be very competitive environment. I've seen two partners stand up, when somebody says, I have an opportunity that have, the same capabilities, and there's a discussion and there is a way to figure out, is there room for both, or does it make more sense for one or more sense for the other? So, I would say, if you are not a member, certainly join but use it. That's the other thing. It's like you have to get engaged and follow, some of the advice that both Sherman and Paul have given us today.
And if I may, Sherman, there are
awesome, great. No.
I was just going to give an example of opportunities.
Go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I was just going to give an example of an opportunity, P2P opportunity that is typical of what happens. So I would receive a request from a Seattle member saying they have a customer who is global, and they need to provide CSP type support in Dublin, Ireland. And imagine how difficult that would be normally to find a partner in Dublin, Ireland, if you're in Seattle, to support your customer, the one that you treasure. And through the IMCP network, we were able to reach out to the UK president and get an introduction to a trusted partner, and the two have connected, and now the customer is supported. But that's something that would take weeks or maybe even months using other channels.
Good point.
That's great. So we have a couple things here. We have a couple more questions left. However, I want to bring Andres back in. We got a few more minutes left, and got to be a little careful here. Just want to let everybody know, next month, we've tentatively with Andrew Ralph, who's coming from the service team. And then the following month, we've got Allison Seltzer, who Helane knows, and I know very well. She heads up the IoT, partner to partner with IoT. It's going to be amazing, I do believe. Not that I do believe it will be. And so we're starting to do this, and we're looking for other Microsoft sponsors to come in, not sponsors, but folks and executives to come in and give their perspectives or their thoughts for this. So please make sure you take a look at when we send out the LinkedIn Live or we send out the Teams invite. Please forward that over to other folks you might think would be good. I want to say thank you. We're kind of running out of end of time here. I want to be very respectful. Thank you to Helane Cohen. Thank you so much for coming on today. Really important. You can get LinkedIn with her. Send a LinkedIn request to linkedin.com/in/Helane Cohen. Go ahead and connect with her there. And also Paul Soski here. We've been putting up this traffic the whole time. That is another great contact. Now, I don't look at these contacts. When most people here, it's not about just doing business. Remember, this is partner to partner. This is how we help each other out. I think we want to give first, right? We want to give. So please reach out. Paul would love to talk to you, right? He'd love to just have a conversation, right? And reach out to him, get going there. Last thing I'm going to go ahead and put up here is our Crancer group slide. Just want to make sure everybody knows this. Make sure that if you're not already a member of our LinkedIn Crancer group, go find it's at the Crancer group. Go ahead and press click on there. Number 2, send us an email to info@crancer.us if you want to be invited to our Crancer group partners team site. Now, this team site is there to collaborate, to network, to be together, to find ways that we can help work together. And kind of, I'm making a big push for that this year, kind of in line with what Helane's doing, what Paul's doing. It's we foster a group of people, not only through IMCP, but also another way to foster, relationships through that, right? Helane, any last words you'd like to provide? And then I'll go to Paul. We'll cut to the networking portion of the group, which is an additional 20 minutes after this on the team site. Okay, that's where we're actually introducing people and getting people connected. Helane?
Yeah, no, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to present today. P2P, I think you alluded to it in the beginning, it's been around, but it hasn't been around as a formal program for Microsoft for that long. So, I'm always open to feedback. I want to hear what's working, what's not working. Again, appreciate the time. Sherman, I love working with you and your team. And Paul and I have had a long-running history as well from my old roles. And I highly recommend Paul and his company as well. So, again, thank you. And anytime, glad to come back.
Thank you so much. Paul?
And likewise, I just wanted to express my thanks for having me here and for the opportunity to share some learnings. And Helane, as always, it's a pleasure working with you. And if anyone is interested in P2P or going global, send me an email. Love to talk to you and see if we can share some learnings.
Great. And then Andres, Boomer, Wiz, we got a bunch
Well,
of
if I'm closing it, I just want to say thank you. It's always a fun time to be here and learn so much from everybody in this ecosystem. We're here for anything that you need. We're here for any conversation. It's always a pleasure just to get to build new relationships with everybody. So thank you, everybody, for your time. Looking forward to meeting everybody in person, hopefully, once everything calms down. And thanks again, everybody. Have a great rest of your year. We'll talk soon.
All right, we landed the plane at 12. Boom, it's over. We're done. Have a great day. Talk to you next month. Bye-bye.